Hi guys, good afternoon. Just wanted to get on and I wanted to just share something with you. Really, it's kind of the same theme again. It's about this would be like a prophetic teaching, really about what's about to come and what's unfolding and what's unfolding at the moment in the earth, right? And it's like sometimes the Lord just uses a book and He opens it up to me and he gives me understanding and he speaks to me about what is about to unfold. And so this is what's going on here with this book. And the book is Habakkuk, right? So this is like a, you could say, a prophetic teaching, but it's really a revelation of what is going on, what is about to go on, how it's going to unfold. And this is, regarding kind of a worldwide takeover, you could say, or other nations rising up. So anyway, so I'm just going to go into this. It's so interesting here because I think I have to give you a little bit of background for you to understand this because I had to dig a little deeper. Um, so with this book of Habakkuk, right, is the prophet, and he's engaged in a dialogue with the Lord because um, the Babylonians are rising up to come and take Judah, right? And so he's having this dialogue while this is beginning to occur, and this is like historical fact. The Bible is not myths; it's factual, right? Historical fact. And so this this takeover of the Babylonians happened in 605 BC. Okay, so basically, just to give you a little background, so you can get an understanding here. Um, what was going on was the Babylonians was rising up as a very strong power, and they were going to come against the Assyrians, and they wanted to take Egypt, right? And so Assyria and Egypt got together, and they formed an alliance to hold back or push back the Babylonians. But what happened was the Babylonians had a battle at a place called Carchemish in Assyria, and they overthrew the Assyrians and they took a lot of their land and they went right down into Egypt, and they conquered the Egyptians. Necho, the pharaoh was called Necho. Now this is recorded in a few different books in the scriptures. So it's also recorded in Jeremiah 46, but it's recorded in Habakkuk and Zephaniah. And I'm going to speak from the books of Habakkuk and Zephaniah. Um, but this is very interesting, this what was happening right here, because I believe the Lord was highlighting it to me. And I believe the Lord, it was showing me how that the Russia and China are both rising up. They're making an alliance, and they're beginning to. They want to take over. They're going to cross Europe, but their aim initially is America, and I actually believe that their target is America. So, like the Babylonian king here, Nebuchadnezzar, Egypt was his destiny. That's what he wanted to take. And so I believe the same is happening here. It's like the Lord is showing me the parallel of what is going on. And like the Babylonians, when they started to move in, to creep in and get stronger and stronger, it was actually when they had that battle at Carchemish. That's when they really, took over. That's when Babylon really took over Assyria and Egypt, and it happened speedily at that point, right? Um, so I believe the same scenario is happening. I believe that China and Russia are trying to get people on side. Um, they've already got, some of the Middle Eastern nations on side. The Lord showed me that the princes, these Arab princes, would go on side with Russia, not because they had a preference, but because they felt he had more strategy and more they trusted him more. And this has already begun to happen. And even this morning I saw a headline where the Chinese president is visiting Europe, Xi Jinping, and he's got a good relationship with Serbia and Hungary. but a tense relationship with some of the other European powers, right? And there's nearly like a confrontation, almost a feeling of confrontation that's going to happen between Europe and China because of some of the trade, there's problems with the trade, you know. So I was just noticing this as well, that Xi Jinping coming, visiting Europe. So, you kind of wonder what's his agenda. Is he trying to get people on side here as well? Seeing, just testing them. Who are they going to be for? Are they going to be for the United States? Are they going to be for? Will they join alliance with him? And with Russia. Um, Anyway, so this is this. I just want to give that bit of a background because there's a tremendous parallels between what is going on in this book and what's going on right now, and God is showing and highlighting this to me, um, very, very strongly, right? So I'm going to read you some scriptures, and please bear with me because you will see how there's so much parallel, okay, between what was happening here and what's happening currently in our current world. So I'm going to read some scriptures initially from Habakkuk, right? So you kind of get a gist of what's happening here, right? So Habakkuk is complaining to the Lord about what is going on, right, in at the time in Judah. So he's complaining here, and he's saying, "Oh Lord," this is in chapter 1, verse 2, okay? "Oh Lord, how long must I call for help before you listen, before you save us from violence? Why do you make me see such trouble? How can you endure to look on such wrongdoing? Destruction and violence are all around me, and there is fighting and quarreling everywhere." Now, verse 4 says, "The law is weak and useless, and justice is never done. Evil people get the better of the righteous, and so justice is perverted." And like, if ever we're seeing a time like that is right now, where justice is really being perverted, and is not being administrated correctly, and evil people are rising up more and more and more, and there's so much corruption being done, right? Um, Verse 5 says, "Then the Lord said to his people, keep watching the nations around you, and you will be astonished at what you see. I am going to do something that you will not believe when you hear about it." Now, to me, it really felt like the Lord was speaking directly. At this time, this is a word like in season right now, that the Lord is saying, look at the nations because you're not going to believe what you're about to see. I believe the exact same scenario is happening right now in the midst of us, and because we have a parallel culture to the culture that was going on then. And um, I'm just debating whether to jump forward because it's relevant, right? So I'm just going to jump forward. I'm going to come back to this, but I'm going to jump forward into Zephaniah because I want to give you the reason why this is going on, right? So if you look in the book of Zephaniah chapter 1, I'm going to read from verse 4. "I will punish the people of Jerusalem and of all Judah. I will destroy the last trace of the worship of Baal there, and no one will even remember the pagan priests who serve him. I will destroy anyone who goes upon the roof and worships the sun, the moon, and the stars. I will also destroy those who worship me and swear loyalty to me, but then take oaths in the name of the god Molech. I will destroy those who have turned back and no longer follow me, those who do not come to me or ask me to guide them." So the Lord is basically giving the reason why, because the people began to sacrifice their children to the god Molech and to Baal and to be involved in Baal worship. This is the sacrifice of children. And I want to tell you that when the Lord started giving me prophecies about America and the destruction of America back in 2017, he told me directly at that point, he said, "I am very grieved with the slaughter of my innocent ones." And I knew he was talking about abortion. And at the time when I looked, there was 65 million babies had been aborted in America at that time. And so this is what's grieving the heart of the Lord. It's the biggest sin. It is the biggest sin. And the Lord spoke something to me. He said, he said, know this, he said, that the enemy will always go for my innocent ones. So when you give a foothold to Satan, when you give a foothold to Lucifer, that's what he targets. He targets the babies. He targets the innocent ones. He targets the children. So it's like a really violent, aggressive move against the heart of God when they talk when people when babies are being sacrificed, and that's what Satan wants. That's what he wants. So here we can see this was the reason why the Lord was going to allow Jerusalem and Judah to fall into the hands of the Babylonians, right? He warned them, this is why I'm doing this, because of your sacrifices, right? So if we go back now, Zephaniah and Habakkuk were prophesying in the same time zone around the 600 BC mark, right? Before Judah was attacked by the Babylonians. I'm going to go back here, right? So verse 6, it says, I am bringing the Babylonians to power, these fierce, restless people. They are marching out across the world to conquer other lands. And that's what's going on right now. That's what Russia is doing right now. With Ukraine, of course. They spread fear and terror, and in their pride they are a law unto themselves. Their horses are faster than leopards and fiercer than hungry wolves. So I feel the Lord is saying here that there's going to be speed that's going to happen with this war. When this war really gets legs, it's going to move really quickly. That's what I believe. The leopards represent speed here. The hungry wolves means ruthlessness, right? The horsemen come riding from distant lands. Their horses paw the ground. They come swooping down like eagles attacking their prey. And that is, I believe, airplanes, with the airplane warfare as well, right? Their armies advance in violent conquest, and everyone is terrified as they approach. Their captives are as numerous as the grains of sand. Now, when it came to Judah, the Babylonians captured 10,000 captives, and they were all the royals, they were the craftsmen, they were the soldiers, they were the top officials, were taken back to Babylon at that time. 10,000 captives. And I believe the Lord is saying this is going to happen again. There's going to be thousands and thousands of people taken captive. And I believe this is going to be in America, but obviously it's going to creep over Europe as well. Okay, where are we? So, their armies advance. Their captives are as numerous as grains of sand. They treat kings with contempt and laugh at high officials. No fortress can stop them. They pile up earth against it and capture it. Then they sweep on like the wind and are gone. These men whose power is their God, right? So they're going to sweep through and just destroy places and make places desolate. So in verse 12 here, listen to this, right? Actually, let me see. Yeah. Lord, from the very beginning, you are God. Now, this is going to happen. This is going to be the response of when the war begins to take place, right? And get legs, right? Lord, from the very beginning, you are God. You are my God, holy and eternal. You have chosen the Babylonians and made them strong so they can punish us. But how can you stand these treacherous evil men? Your eyes are too holy to look at evil, and you cannot stand the sight of people doing wrong. So why are you silent while they destroy people who are more righteous than they? And I know that people will think at this because I've thought it, and when God told me what was going to happen, that the northern tribes are going to come and attack America, I was like, yeah, but Lord, why would you do that? I argued with the Lord. I really argued with the Lord, and I was like, why would you do that, Lord? When these people are, when there's so many Christians in America, and a lot of them people, they're godless, they don't know the Lord, And I realized that something that the Lord told me was that America is so corrupted that she cannot be healed, that her core has become so rotten that she cannot be healed. That's what the Lord showed me. And so he has to bring his rod of discipline against her. And, he's doing it for the victims. He's doing it for the cries of his babies. He's doing it, for those who've never received justice. He's doing it because of the oppression, because of the corruption, because of the suffering of people that have come under these corrupt justice systems. Um, like if there was any, I think there was if there was any redemption, I think if there was any redemption, I think if there was any which way, and I feel so sad when I'm saying this. I feel the sadness of the Lord right now as I'm saying this. I truly believe if there was any redemption in America, if there was any which way the Lord could turn her heart back towards Him, back towards righteousness, back towards truth, back towards justice, I believe the Lord would do it because of the saints and the prayers of the saints in America. But I believe that because there is no redeeming America in the state of her corruption, that this is the why the Lord is bringing his rod of judgment down on her. And it's going to be severe. God will deal with America severe because there's been much, much corruption that she's done. There's been much secret conspiracies. There's been much conniving. There's been much injustice. There's been much secret murder. There has been many things that a lot of us have not seen. That are a lot of things that have been covered up. And me as a European, the things that really that does jump out to my mind, I think of people like Julian Assange, and I think of Robert Snowden, who've had to run away and go into hiding basically, and try and get out of this of the snatches of America because of exposing corruption. And I remember at the time when that was going on, I was like, why would they be chasing these guys when all they're doing is exposing what's wrong? There's a documentary program that, if you haven't watched it, it's called Octopus. And, that was the way that the Lord oftentimes showed me the corruption is it's moved like an octopus throughout the United States and has utterly corrupted her from the inside. And it's funny because I did have a prophecy about an octopus. So when I watched this documentary, it's on Netflix. I don't know if it's available to Americans or not. I'm not sure. But it really, really graphically exposes the corruption, the CIA, and the FBI, the intelligence services, the military, and how they're all in cahoots together, working and have hidden agendas and have hidden ties with drug cartels and with very many different things. And it was, when I watched that documentary, I was just like, wow, because God had spoken to me about these things, but this was the evidence. This was like real, hard evidence, factual evidence. Um, yeah, so it just makes me sad just saying these things. And I believe God's heart is broken over what He's going to do. I do believe that God's heart is broken over this, but I believe it. A time and a season has come where God is going to judge the earth for their sins. It's not just America, but America is a prime target because for Russia, for China, even for them to attack Israel, they have to get rid of America first. And we know that Satan will target Israel because Israel was the chosen nation that God chose. So we know that's his target. That's where the Antichrist is going to come up and rule and reign. But that can't happen while America exists. This is just on a logical level. But that's why I believe God showed me that America's Mystery Babylon, she's got to be taken down first, you know. Um, Now, this is very interesting. I'm going to jump into chapter 2 of Habakkuk here. I want to show you something here. Let me just read these few verses, and I'm just going to explain something with this. So, I will climb my watchtower and wait to see what the Lord will tell me to say and answer, and what answer he will give to my complaint. The Lord gave me this answer. Write down clearly on clay tablets what I reveal to you, so that can be read at a glance. Put in writing, because it is not yet time for it to come true, but the time is coming quickly, and what I show you will come true. It may seem slow in coming, but wait for it. It will certainly take place, and it will not be delayed. And this is the message: those who are evil will not survive, but those who are righteous will live, because they're faithful to God. And when I saw this was amazing to me, because I knew that God had called me as a prophet and a watchman, to speak about these things and to bring warnings about, the coming events. And if you look at, worldwide takeover and the coming world war and very many other of my videos, it really gives insight into what's going to happen. But at the time, I remember going through a lot of doubt and unbelief with the prophecies God was giving to me. I was just really assaulted with this attack. And the Lord spoke to me in my dreams, and he said to me in a dream that I had, and he spoke to me very strongly, and he said, everything I told you will come true, you know. So when I read this, it was like exactly what the Lord was saying to me. Everything I spoke to you is going to happen. So it was like a sign for me, this right in the middle of this book of Habakkuk, about the message to the Watchtower. And I have to say, there's been since I received these prophetic messages back in 2017, when I never heard anyone talking about this. The Lord was just giving this to me, and when I started to, put my videos up, people thought I was mad. They thought I was crazy. And now, like, people can clearly see, this was the Lord. The Lord was really speaking to me. um, but he's raised up so many prophets now, and there's so many watchtowers, so many prophetic people that have been, warning about these events that are coming, But isn't it interesting? It says here, but those who are righteous will live, because they are faithful to God. And if you go to chapter 3, and if you look at, sorry, did I miss that? Actually, chapter 3. No, if you go to Zephaniah, because both of them are very, very intertwined here. If you go to chapter 2 of Zephaniah, I'll read from verse 1 to 3. It says here, shameless nation, come to your senses before you are driven away like chaff blown by the wind, before the burning anger of the Lord comes upon you, before the day when he shows his fury. Turn to the Lord, all you humble people of the land who obey his commands. Do what is right and humble yourselves before the Lord. Perhaps you will escape punishment on the day when the Lord shows his anger. So the Lord is saying, repent right now, so that you will be in right standing with the Lord, so that when this happens, that you will not be engaged in the punishment that's coming to people during this period of time. Now, interestingly as well, I want to point out here in Zephaniah 2 verse 4, look what this says. And again, see, when the Lord is speaking and when the Lord is bringing you into a season of something that he's doing, he gives you signposts within the scripture to indicate, yes, this is the season. Yes, this is the time. Yes, this is what I'm doing, right? Now, the Watchtower one was a big sign for me, because the Lord had spoken that to me. But this was another sign. In chapter 2, verse 4 of Zephaniah, it says, No one will be left in the city of Gaza. Ashkelon will be deserted. The people of Ashdod will be driven out in half a day. But actually, it says in the notes that it's in daytime, in the daytime. And the people of Ekron will be driven from their city. And you Philistines are doomed, you people who live along the coast. The Lord has passed sentence on you. He will destroy you, and not one of you will be left. And your land by the sea will become open fields with shepherd huts and sheep pens. I just thought that was quite incredible. That, okay, at the time it would have been relevant to what was going on in Judah, obviously, and yeah, what was happening there at the time. But right now, what's highlighted is that we are now hearing Gaza and Ashkelon, like they're all over the news right now. Do you know of what is happening? I'm not justifying. I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying that at all, at all, at all, at all. But I'm just saying that it's like so bizarre a sign that that is what's happening right now in Gaza and Ashkelon, and the parallels between what is happening in these letters and what is happening in modern day in our current season right now. Right. Now, there's loads in these two books, right, that are really parallel. If you want to read them and study them, there really is a lot that parallel currently what is going on. Let me just see if I can point out anything else to you. Yeah, okay. If we have a read of chapter 2 of Habakkuk, verse 5, it says, wealth is deceitful, greedy people are proud and restless. Like death itself, they are never satisfied. That is why they conquer nation after nation for themselves. I felt like this was the mentality of Putin, right? The conquered people will taunt their conquerors and show their concern for them. They will say, you take what isn't yours, but you are doomed. How long will you go on getting rich by forcing your debtors to pay up? And if you go down here, it says in verse 8, you have plundered the people of many nations, but now those who have survived will plunder you because of the murders you have committed and because of your violence against the people of the world and its cities. So this is global. This is a global event. It's a global event. And if you look, cities are repeated a few times, right, throughout these letters. And God has really shown me a lot that the attacks are going to be against the cities. They're really going to attack the big cities. That's where it's really going to, where especially America is going to be hit, is the big cities. Um, so look, they themselves eventually are going to come under God's judgment. These nations that rise up against really America, and then I believe Europe as well. But here, I just want to point out something else here in chapter 3 of Habakkuk. The Lord has given me prophecies about three hammers coming to the earth, right? And I want to point out here something interesting. When God showed me that there was three hammers coming to the earth, he showed it to me. His judgments were like lightning, and I saw a globe, and the lightning hit the earth three times in three different places. And I knew the lightning was coming from God's scepter, and it was his judgments. And here's mentioned three judgments. So I want to read from um, verse 4. He comes with the brightness of lightning. Light flashes from his hand. There where his power is hidden. He sends disease before him and commands death to follow him. One, the pandemic. The pandemic was our first judgment, right? If you shoot down to verse 9, you got ready to use your bow and ready to shoot your arrows. Your lightning split open the earth. And I have a prophecy that says that the earth will be split open. This is the second judgment. So I don't know. And this is amazing. Nearly word for word, I got the same thing as is in this scripture. The second judgment, your lightning split open the earth. When the mountains saw you, they trembled. Water poured down from the skies. The waters under the earth roared, and their waves rose high. I think that's amazing. So I believe the second judgment is some catastrophic natural event. It could be I've said this before, it could be the asteroids that Ephraim Rodriguez has messages about. You can have a look at that. Just look up the asteroid with Ephraim Rodriguez. It could be that, but I think it's a great shaking that's going to happen. And I think it's going to trigger earthquakes, and it's going to cause a lot of devastation. I think it's going to be one of the biggest events that we've ever seen. I think, like, because I know that the Lord told me this is going to go down in the annals of history. So it's going to be like a super big event. It's going to be a very large event, and I think we're heading towards it. I think that's our next event. I don't know how it's going to happen. I don't know when it's going to happen, but I believe that will be the second hammer of judgment. Now, and then number 3, at the flash, this is verse 11. At the flash of your speeding arrows and the gleam of your shining spear, the sun and the moon stood still. You marched across the earth in anger. In fury, you trampled the nations. You went out to save your people, to save your chosen king. So in fury, you trampled the nations. I believe that's war. I think the third judgment is war, because that's what's going to bring desolation. And I felt that the third judgment will be desolation. There'll be a lot of desolation. Um, yeah, so that was just like so interesting to me. I just was receiving so much confirmation, so much revelation from these two books. So have a look through them. That's Habakkuk and Zephaniah. They're both they're talking parallel in Zephaniah. Actual chapter 3, it says Jerusalem is doomed, that corrupt, rebellious city that oppresses its own people. It has not listened to the Lord or accepted his discipline. It has not put its trust in the Lord or asked for help. Its officials are like roaring lions. Its judges are like hungry wolves, too greedy to leave a bone until the morning. The prophets are irresponsible and treacherous. The priests defile what is sacred and twist the law of God to their own advantage. I mean, if ever we've seen anything like this going on, it's so blatantly going on right now. This right now, in verse 15 from the second chapter, it says, "That is what will happen to the city that is so proud of its own power and think it is safe. Its people think that their city is the greatest in the world. What a desolate place it will become, a place where wild animals will rest. Everyone who passes by will shrink back in horror." And I believe that's got to do with New York City, because I believe that New York City is going to be one of the first lines of attack. David Wilkerson spoke about New York City, that he saw many fires there prophetically. Um, the Lord spoke to me and told me that there will be a neutron bomb set off in New York City. Um, and that will be a surprise attack. That will be a surprise attack. And it will be from the Russians on the right hand side. There will be submarines in the waters. And then from this, I saw from the south and from the east, some of the east, I saw the Chinese coming up that way. Um, and I know this is in line with, other prophets as well. Um, yeah, so I just wanted to share that because the Lord was really highlighting these to me. And I just wanted to give you a sense of how the Lord speaks to me, how the Lord opens up the scriptures and begins to reveal these things to me. Um, and he just makes it very sharp. He makes it very clear to me, what was going on. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed that. Well, I mean, for what it is, but that it will expound and give you understanding. Yeah, it's worth reading and studying those books and even the history behind them, because there is definitely a parallel that's going on now. And my sense is as well, is just the way like the Babylonians started, maneuvering slowly. And then all of a sudden they got Carchemish, and then like it was full on assault, went right across Assyria, and to target Egypt. And then that was when they destroyed Jerusalem and Judah. They came in and destroyed the place, and they set a puppet king in power. They took the king and all the high officials as hostages. Yeah, so anyway, I just want to share that with you guys. God bless you. If you have any comments, anything anything you want to chat to me about, just chat away on the comments. I'm sorry if you missed some comments because I think some of my comments just get taken down. I don't know why. It just happens with you. You know yourself. You know what's censorship, I think. So anyway, God bless you guys. Have a wonderful day, and I'll speak to you again soon.